Hello, everybody. Welcome to my weekly recap of the week of October 24th. The loyal watcher will see I'm not in my orange room in San Diego, but I'm in the Delano Hotel in Las Vegas. Ready here, you'll see why on a Sunday afternoon. I'm not responsible for the artwork selection here, so I'll try to be in front of it. Hopefully nobody offended, but all complaints should go to the Delano here. It was a busy week. Let me start to share the presentation. I'm trying to use a showcase app for the first time, so it's going to be interesting how that's going to come over. Always good to try something new. So weekly recap of the week of October 24th. Thanks for being here, everybody. Interesting enough, I'm seeing a lot of feedback, both on Twitter and on blog posts, but even in events on my recent blog post here. I'm using this post, why does analytics matter? So what I try to tell there is that analytics takes really an action, like the ABS in your car, or it recommends an action. And it's really what I'm used to, what analytics at least used to be before the market has hijacked it. And there's quite some interest on that, as I mentioned already before. And I had this here, and I'm in no way in charge of Dennis Howlett's wardrobe here. I'm the man in black, fancy myself beautiful. As you can recognize, Dennis is the gentleman with the white shirts and the short trousers. But we had a good conversation on the Genomica website about what analytics is really about and what the concerns potentially also are when machines make that. So I highly recommend check that out on the Constellation website. And then my next musings post, let's see how I can share that over here. Equally, for the week, I'll be witnessing the rise of the enterprise cloud. What I was talking there about is there are certain qualities right now that are part of what's happening with more mature offerings in the enterprise space. And there's a number of qualities, and let me quickly run through them, which I see that there's a better, shorter notice periods, maximum 3 months to be enterprise cloud. There's data ownership. Enterprise need to know the data and should be able to retract with no penalties. There should be local, right? Global, local coverage, so more local capabilities are important. Server physicality is important for many enterprises, so bare metal delivery. Physical separation, that you have separate cages, separate networks potentially for what you're running in the cloud, separate SLAs and optional service, and last but not least, high cost transparency as enterprises charge to different departments, different areas in the enterprise. So 7 criteria which form the enterprise cloud, and we saw some of that manifestations this week as we'll get to it. And then I was off to Las Vegas, came in for SAP TechEd, always beautiful sunrises, stayed at the Palazzo Hotel, nice view of the wind pools and the great sunrise. And then it was Steve Lucas' presentation, which was really well done for a non-technical executive kicking off a developer conference, which is never an easy task. But Steve had about 10 people in different areas on stage. Here I have a screenshot from how he was talking about a new Samsung wearable device, which he smartly kept even for dinner. And I don't know if Samsung got it back, so something to check with Steve Lucas or Samsung potentially. And the really interesting thing was a demo by John Appleby, building a very short time, a similar showcase of Oracle showed at Open World, but running HANA in memory. Not surprisingly, in my view, HANA in memory was faster, being a purpose-built database, versus the memory capabilities are going along with what Oracle is offering with its row store. But we have to do more digging into that part. Next day was Björn Görke's presentation around the power of one. Everybody's going to 1-1-1 right here. For him, nicely done keynote 2, and one experience, one platform, one truth, with a highlight demo with Björn, pretty much did all by himself at the very end of that keynote, so well done. And in my event report, I talk about how SAP finally is talking about the platform, about the PaaS side of things. Too much from my perspective in last year's TechEd, there was no conversation about PaaS. Also, Sapphire was pretty PaaS-free, and this is really a key message, as we see also in some of our research, that application development is back for enterprises, which means they need tools, modern tools, and SAP is deeply entrenched in enterprise. So it's really important that companies can use these tools and build them with something which is familiar or similar to what they're doing. And very similar to what Oracle said, the takeaways of my post here is that It's becoming a little bit more like IBM and Oracle. The shares of IBM and Oracle is strong push for PaaS. IBM is pushing Bluemix, launched that back in April, blogged about that too, check out my blog. Equally, Oracle Open World, as I blogged in my takeaways of the event there, was all about platform as a service PaaS too. And then similarities working with IBM cloud infrastructure, about an event, a news analyst the week before, and in memory, right, something which both Oracle and SAP are stressing now. So interesting similarities coming along there. And had some takeaways, which unfortunately at this point are not posted yet, together with the SAP user group, together with their CEO and Thomas Trailgun. Couldn't locate it. So Thomas, if you hear this, see this, point me to where that is. And then off to the Netherlands with some interesting innovation around travel. Probably the best airport. I'm not representative in any way, but it tells you when will the belt start, if your baggage is arriving, if the first baggage comes on the belt, if all your baggage got on it. So quite neatly done by the airport, called something wrongly, so very similarly, but really called Schiphol and not something else. Then it was off to HR Tech Europe. Very good, my first time there. Had an early workshop, thanks to Naomi Bloom, who unfortunately couldn't make it, to help me get that spot. Appreciate that. Talking about when do enterprises have to overhaul both their HR systems and the talent management system. The interesting thing really is that Europe is still much more talking about talent management than the US was 2 weeks before at HR Tech here in Las Vegas. Then there was a panel, interesting panel. Jason Averbook did a great job. The Talking Heads panel did a good job moderating us. We had from the vendor side, Oracle's Gretchen Alarcon. We had Thomas Otter from SAP and Amy Wilson from Workday. We had Dave Wilson, interesting, 2 Wilsons, just noticed it now, and Josh Burson. And then Phil Wainwright from Genomica and me. And I hope we entertained the audience afterwards. People said it was quite interesting what we were talking about and how we saw things and trends in nature. And here's the panelist view from our side. And the next day, Ray had again the opening keynote of the last day of HR Tech, both in Las Vegas and Europe, talked about very similar things. The audience loved it. Do we need CDOs or digital CXOs was one of the slides. No determined answer to that. As practice will find out, I think digital transformation will quickly become a team sport across all the CXOs and can't be institutionalized with a single CXO. But every organization, this situation is different, so you never really know what the right approach to cutter is. On my side, I had another presentation that, interesting enough, there was a startup show called Disrupt HR. There were a number of very interesting startups, which unfortunately I didn't have much time to check out. So if any of these hear that, I definitely have to check out what they've been offering there in the HR space. And I was talking about how big data analytics will disrupt HR, right? So how both big data is trying to be able to store everything, can get hold of at negligible cost, and the predictive analytics to get some insights out of that will change the way how we do best practice in HR. And I had the chance to check out for that with HR in Europe, a long conversation again about analytics, surprise, as the hot topic. I think for almost 20 minutes with Andrew White. And then, interesting enough, from the other news outside the conference I attended, Amazon launched, I listened to the live webcast, a German instance, not just a German, sorry, not German instance, a German region with 2 availability zones. So no excuse anymore for German enterprises from a data locality and from a data residency perspective not to embrace Amazon. Shrewdly done, nicely done, also announcing it and saying it's right away available. Well done. I speculate that Amazon will do some things with that anyway, with the launch of Prime in the country, but of course the AWS guys are pretty shy to confirm anything around that. But if you look at the services Amazon's offering in the first version of the German AWS instance located in Frankfurt, smart location by the way, because one of the major internet traffic hubs, a major switch being located there. I think the services point to the direction what Amazon wants to do by themselves. So there is, of course, quite legitimate and nice synergy for them. But of course, nothing officially confirmed in any direction, so 100% my speculation. And then, interesting enough, one of the PaaS vendors, which has a lot of legacy installed by Valvematch, Progress Software announced they intend to acquire Telerik. Telerik, really interesting, very strong on the mobile side, coming out of Bulgaria, adding a lot to the portfolio. Here's a slide from the briefing. You can see how much green boxes are being added, not just inside Progress specific for mobile development and similar things, but even outside of further development tools like the pretty strong Kendo tools, the Test Studio, and much of, interesting enough, the mobile development also runs on Modulus. So I think a good acquisition, if I find the time this week to blog about, I'll blog about too from Progress Software, with soon probably buying Telerik. And then on the side, still staying in the PaaS arena, very PaaS-centric weekly update. Cloud Foundry announced the bylaws. Now 29 or 39 even, something between 20 and 30 members are in the Cloud Foundry Foundation, and then you need a governance piece, so it was all overdue to come out. Haven't seen anybody digging into it, how good and well that's done. I'm not volunteering for that. Still have my scars from being on OMG committees, which was bad enough to remember and not look into how good these bylaws are. Last but not least, even cloud news, similar like Amazon, IBM expands, but this is only announcements going to come by the end of the year. The first French software instance, equally important, France being a large economy like Germany, data residency, data privacy laws, and speed play a role here. So a good move by IBM on the side. And the fashion update by a gentleman which I had the pleasure to meet at HR Tech, who had one of my favorite cufflinks there. Adrian Bogart from IBM, with very beautiful, nice Lego cufflinks, as you see. And Jason Corsello was a very close second with a baseball-made cufflink, given the World Series ongoing, Go Giants. Quite interesting. It was the weekend, and I had a chance to look at beautiful Scheveningen. The weather wasn't that great, right? The #1 beach in the Netherlands, almost closing down. Today was the last day there, so barely made it to the open coffee shops and so on. And then had a chance to go to Maurits house, where, well, the painting I knew the most famous one, The Girl, the Golden Earring, I saw live for the first time. So it's always nice to balance all the tech stuff out with some other cultural stuff happening when you have to spend a weekend abroad away from your family. Where I'm off to right now, I'm back in Las Vegas, staying at the very nice Delano for the first time here for IBM's Insight Conference, Monday, Tuesday. And then off to our own conference, Constellation Connected Enterprise, happening in the second half of this week, and the Ritz-Carlton Half Moon Base. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I have 2 panels, one on consumerization of IT, but really talking to interesting leading headhunters about what they're doing in the recruiting of getting the right digital savvy, digital awareness of new executives they're placing and being selected. So that's going to be fun. Let's believe on Wednesday, and on Thursday I have a Future of Work panel, and still figuring out very flux who and which vendors are definitely going to be there, but definitely it's going to be a good panel, figuring out the topics right now. Well, thanks for watching the update. Here are my usual details, while I'm trying to figure out from all the windows I have open to stop sharing, so you can at least see me one more time. As you can see, it's gotten darker in Las Vegas already, so hopefully you can still see me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Follow me on Twitter this week. Tons of stuff will be happening at IBM Insight, and of course at Constellation Connected Enterprise. Thanks for bearing with me. Appreciate it. Have a great week.